The Antichrist is here, the church is sound asleep, and the world is hit snooze as the papacy continues to inch closer and closer to enforcing the mark of the beast. And yes, the Sunday law from the Vatican is the mark of the beast. Wildfire outbreak likely as a mighty multi-threat storm tracks across the country, bringing fire, blizzards, floodings, and thunderstorms. Blood rain turns beach in Iran blood red days before the blood moon last week. Trump tells NATO chief that the U.S. needs Greenland. Just 2 weeks after the total lunar eclipse, we're now having a solar eclipse Saturday, March 29th. Israeli ministers sent letter to members of the U.S. Congress to recognize Jewish rights to the Temple Mount. The Antichrist of Bible prophecy, George Mario Bergoglio, better known as Pope Francis, signals intention to remain in post with sign off on a 3-year reform plan that puts us right at the end of 2028. Trump warns Iran will be held responsible for any future Houthi attacks. Oil prices spike from fears of World War III. Israel conducts urgent meeting over fears of imminent Hamas ground invasion. Israel ends ceasefire with Hamas and carries out strikes in Gaza after they refuse to release the hostages. As plane crashes have become the norm, another downed plane, 12 dead in Honduras. Israeli strikes kills hundreds, tipping Gaza back toward war. As a retail apocalypse continues, Forever 21 to close all U.S. stores. It's about 350 locations after filing for bankruptcy for a second time. 150 Macy's locations due to close. Macy's retailer to close its doors after 150 years after losing $21.3 billion in sales. Tornado threat moves to the southern U.S. after severe storms kill at least 20. U.S. launches wave of airstrikes on Yemen's Houthis. UN experts accuse Israel of sexual violence and genocidal acts in Gaza. Australia is on the move. Australia moves to arm troops with anti-missiles as China threat looms. ABC News is reporting that ICE arrests over 32,000 migrants in the U.S. illegally in the first 50 days. Here we go, more airplane situations. Passenger on a flight bound for Florida swallows rosary beads and then attacks the flight crew. Lawlessness will continue to abound. California pastor could spend 220 years in prison after scamming people of nearly $240,000. Israel carries out largest airstrike in Syria in months, targeting key military sites. Lawlessness will continue to abound. Texas megachurch founder Robert Morris indicted on charges of lewd acts with a child. Here we go with more airplanes. American Airlines plane catches on fire at Denver International Airport, forcing passengers to evacuate. Naples rocked by one of the worst earthquakes in 40 years, with residents forced to sleep on the streets. Residents fled the 4.4 magnitude tremor after a huge roar was heard in the Italian city. Doomsday plane spotted circling U.S. nuclear base in a mysterious 7-hour flight. Scientists warn massive U.S. volcano could erupt in weeks. A giant volcano in Alaska is showing signs of imminent eruption. Someone pulls a gun on a pastor while preaching the truth in the streets of San Francisco. Deadly storms have killed 26 across the U.S. During the tornado outbreak in Mississippi, it was simultaneously hit with an earthquake. Houthis claim they struck a U.S. aircraft carrier and other American warships. NYC man caught in a viral video eating dead rat in broad daylight, sparking concerns of spreading disease. A Baptist pastor has been prosecuted in Northern Ireland for open-air sermon on John 3:16. Something called sloth fever, an incurable virus spreading in popular vacation hotspots in the Caribbean, sparks alarm. A controversial new rule from the U.S. Department of Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement Network sparks widespread debate, stating that you can now be put under federal financial surveillance for withdrawing more than $200 from an ATM. And lawlessness will continue to abound. Hospitals in the U.S. begin asking parents to identify gender and sexual orientation of newborn babies. Lawlessness will continue to abound. This one's extremely disturbing. A married Illinois special education teacher is charged with inappropriate contact with a 15-year-old student. As famine, pestilence, and war continue to rattle the globe, Mother Earth continues to experience her birth pains as the sands of time for this sin cursed world are fast running out. The prophecies in God's holy word are all nearly fulfilled as the soon return of Jesus Christ upon us